7刹424跟踪正常。厦门217跟踪正常，2521遥测信号正常。抛整流罩。文昌光学雷达跟踪正常，遥测信号正常，文昌飞行正常。陵水3901跟踪正常。
古人仰观宇宙，无限神往，喟然对天发问。
So this is a mystery that we would like to explore in the ancient time. And right now, today is the big day because this is the day that we launched our very first Mars probe. So Mars is the nearest one to Earth and also have a lot of common with Earth, and we also found it has exists of water resources, and we also would like to see whether it's a environment that good to have the microbial life exists, and whether that's a good place for human resettlement. We believe that as long as we learn more about Mars, that is conducive for us to understand the whole environment and also the deep space. Starting from 1960 to now, actually you can see many countries, right now 5 countries have already launched Mars probes in 44 times. Starting from 1992, 19 Mars probes launched to the Mars in each launching windows. Right now we still have 8 probes right now existing in the surface, on the surface of the Mars. We talk about the every 26 months actually is the window time to launch Mars probe. So this year, we talk about the United States, UAE, and China all had a plan to launch Mars probe. So for United States, that has the Perseverance rover, and for UAE, the launcher Hope for the routine, and for China, we launched one mission to conduct orbiting, landing, and roving at the same time. And right now you're looking at this is the early pictures of the launching of China's very first Tianwen Mars spacecraft. And this is the launch center in the southern part of China, Hainan province. Countdown in 2 minutes. You're watching at this is the early footage of the liftoff of Tianwen-1 Mars spacecraft.
白。明白。明白。各号注意，1分钟，准备。
1分钟
We'll
准
count
备
down in 1 minute.
50秒，50秒。
So this is China's first Mars exploration mission,
40秒。
which was officially named Tianwen-1.
30秒，30秒。20秒，20秒。
20 seconds countdown.
明白。
10秒。
9、8、7、6、5、
5,
4、
4, 3,
2、
2,
1，点火。
1. Ignite.
T0 1:2时41分15秒16毫秒。
So China's Long March 5 Y4 carrier rocket carrying the Mars probe blasted off at 12:41 p.m. Beijing time Thursday from Wenchang spacecraft launch site in South China's Hainan province.
文昌光学雷达跟踪正常，遥测信号正常，文昌飞行正常。通过岭遥测信号正常。文昌光学雷达跟踪正常，遥测信号正常，文昌飞行正常。阵地遥测信号正常。阵地3115跟踪正常。
So we can hear from the command center saying that the timing signaling and optical signals are all normal.
3117跟踪正常。
出发去火星。刚刚我们看到的是在中国文昌。
Let's make our journey to Mars. Just now you saw the previous live footage of the liftoff of the China's very first Tianwen-1 Mars base, and also it's announced a big success of its launch. So
流水3901跟踪正常。
China launched its first independent Mars mission on Thursday from the Wenchang Space Launch Center in Hainan province, marking the start of the nation's planetary exploration program.
阵地112跟踪正常。
So this is a big milestone of the whole mission, and also for this time, actually the mission is not only for one purpose. The mission is to launch a Mars probe in 2020, aiming to complete orbiting, landing, and roving in one mission. And the total flight time actually takes around 6 to 7 months from Earth to the right planet, and expected arrival time of our tianwen-1 Mars spacecraft arrived on the surface of Mars around February next year. So that's February 2021. So for today, we just witnessed a significant and also the historical moment today. And also we talked to the people who in the command center, saying that the rocket actually is really accurate. So that's the accurately launch a probe to the geostationary orbit. So it will fly around 6.5 months. So we will change the several times of the orbiting and will arrive at the transferring orbit. That's the elliptical Earth-Mars transfer orbit, and make sure it can fly in a stable manner. So we talk about this fly in a very good performance. So what's your mark on the scale of 1 to 100? I will give 101 marks. So you can see right now, I'm right now at the command center, and we talk about from Shenzhou space cargo, and this is the chief designer of Shenzhou 5, Mr. Li. First of all, congratulations. I remember that you told me that you will give the first interview to the CMG. And what would you like to say? So first, this probe, Mars probe, actually is the result of the 2 generations of hard work. And actually, we spent a lot of efforts and energy on this probe for more than 1 decade. So first of all, big thank you to all people involved in this whole endeavor. And second, good luck to the probe, because that the Mars probe will fly by itself for around 6.5 months, and wish everything a good success, a big completion. So 30 years ago, you were just a student in high school. You saw the launch of a Shenzhou 3 spacecraft. And for today, we actually, the Choppy 5, the Long March 5, actually is involved, a key member to send the Mars probe to the orbit. So you gave 100 score to Long March 5, right? Yes. All the movements actually completed in a very beautiful manner. And you look at the whole sky, the whole weather, it's really helping. We talk about today, actually, it's not easy to have this really brilliant weather condition in Hainan in July. So I believe everything just in the perfect condition to launch our Mars spacecraft. So every condition just so ready in place. So we finished this Mars, and very soon we will also send the Chang'e 5 to the moon, and we'll also have next year the launch of the laboratory to the space. So we have more mission to come in the pipeline. Indeed, after 980 days, so we launched the Long March 5B, and today we see the 4th Long March 5 rocket called Long March 5 Y4. Actually, it's the very first time for its application to send China's very first Mars spacecraft to the orbit. Actually, for this kind of a milestone, we believe people, if our viewers are very familiar with the whole space mission, actually, we have witnessed all these exciting moments. And also you can see the people involved. in the whole journey. They are very excited, and we also witnessed the milestone that we sent the spacecraft to the moon, and also right now today we sent a spacecraft to Mars. So this is China's first Mars exploration mission, marking the very important milestone towarding the exploration of Mars. We believe today actually laid a solid foundation for our future mission, exploration mission. So today's success marks the fourth milestone in the space history in China. So for the first one, we launched satellite. We believe today actually also setting a new step. We're making a new step in China's exploring deep space. So we talk about why we have to go to Mars, why we need to send a probe to Mars. We talk about so far actually the Earth, we call it home for human being. But actually we're not, or let's say human being, we don't want to limit ourselves just to the Earth. We have a vast space waiting for us to explore, and we're also looking forward a backup place for human beings for resettlement. We believe the space industry, actually we are fighting for finding the alternative home for a human being. We believe China right now, we're contributing our strength, our plan, our wisdom to the whole world. Yes, indeed. We just embarked our new journey toward Mars. So for the chief engineer, Mr. Li, also with us. So we talk about Long March 5. Actually, you can see that this year especially, we have achieved many success in the Long March family. That this year we successfully launched Long March 5B, and also today we have the Long March 5Y4 carrying the first Mars probe. We believe this is also a big applaud that we need to give to the Long March 5 engineers. And we can tell actually this is a teamwork. And the credit should go to the whole team. The team actually worked really hard after 908 days. In 2019, we saw the Long March Y3 successfully launched to the space. And this year, we faced the challenges posed by COVID-19 and a flood disaster. But this year, in May, we also successfully launched Long March 5B-Y1. And less than 80 days today, we also have seen another success of Long March 5Y4. A big applaud to the whole team of Long March family. Of course, I believe this is a good payoff to everyone's hard work. And also today, we believe also marking a new day for the whole team, and encouraging us to work together, forging ahead to make a new success. Today actually marked a new start. Right now we can see our Mars exploration mission actually is launched to the Mars and will fly for 6.5 months. And wish a good success to our Mars probe and will successfully land on the surface of the Mars. indeed, we have a very good starting point. So we talk about the propellant or the power, or we talk about actually the heart of the Long March 5. Actually, is the propelled by the liquid oxygen and the hydrogen. So that's a super cold liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen propellant. And that also the Long March 5 Y4. So right now you are watching at this is the replay of the liftoff of China's tianwen Mars spacecraft, and that's along and carried by the Long March 5 Y4 rockets. So that's around 9 seconds from the order of ignition to the actual blast off. So talking about the propellant, at first, so given by the power of liquid. So first lifted by the liquid hydrogen and then powered by the liquid oxygen. And then we'll fire So just now you watched the previous footage, and this is the launch of the China's first independent Mars mission, marking the first step of exploring Mars. So this will fly around 6.5 to 7 months in the Earth-Mars transfer orbit, and to land on the Mars to conduct scientific exploration. Just now, CGT and new media already show you the previous footage of the blast off of China's first Mars spacecraft. It launched from the Wenchang Satellite Launch Center in South China's Hainan province, and China's Long March 5 Y4 carrier rocket carrying the Mars probe blasted off at 12:41 p.m. Thursday, Beijing time. And also we invited Mr. Qian, designer, the engineer of the Mars probe. So as the engineer deeply involved in the whole process of launching our very first Mars space. So right now, please share with us your feeling right now. I'm very excited. I only can tell you I'm so excited. I'm really glad to see the whole process is very successful, very smoothly, and marking our journey toward the Mars. This is a long-awaited moment. So this is Tianwen Mars spacecraft. And actually, everyone also pay attention to the Long March 5 rocket. So our Choppy 5 has received a lot of love and care from our viewers. So we talk about Long March 5 in the previous missions. Already have completed 3 missions. And this year also launched Long March 5B. So just now we saw the footage of the separation of propellants. So we'll have 2 steps to separate the engines. So the Long March 5 actually before is more for testing, but this is the very, very first time for Long March 5 to take the mission of launching a probe. So we talk about this year, actually, we have already experienced the launch of Beidou satellites, as well as before we also sent the Chang'e probe to the moon. So we talk about this time. Actually, this is the very first time actually we sent extraterrestrial objects to the Mars. So this is a very industrial application of Long March 5. So we talked about previously we sent a probe to the moon. Actually still is a very different mission because that the journey between the Earth to the moon just that need 2 to 3 days. But this time you look at actually the whole journey is around 6.5 to 7 months. So that's because of a different transfer orbit. So before the orbits, we just need 1, but this time actually we designed 3 orbits. So it's depend on the window time. So we talk about the 30 minutes window time. We divide it into 3 10 minutes window time. So we designed around 12 orbits. We are targeting a dynamic movement of the moon. So think about that. We are shooting a moving target. So just think about this, like if we launch a probe from the Earth to the Mars, it's like actually you kick the golf ball from Paris and would like to hit it into the hole in Tokyo. So this is also require the validity of interfaces between different systems involved, and also require the accuracy of the design of the orbit. So we talk about the journey. Actually, this time is really long. It's nearly 6 to 7 months for the Mars probe to fly from the Earth to Mars. So it is expected to arrive or to reach the gravitational field of the red planet around February next year. So we talk about after flying for 7 months, the probe will eventually be captured by the gravity of Mars and move into the red planet's orbit. So we talk about that the journey from the Earth to the Mars. Then we talk about when is the window time. So how many months of that window period? We talk about if we want to launch the Mars probe, you need to have the mission completed within your window period. So that's basically 26 months. So we talk about the 26 months. Actually, that is the day that when the Sun, the Earth, and Mars are aligned with the Earth sitting in the middle. So we call that is the Mars opposition. So the next Mars opposition is on October 14, 2020. And this phenomenon actually happens every 26 months, given the shortest distance between Mars and Earth. And we also talk about there is a concept of 7 minutes of tarot. So I believe if everyone knows about something about Mars, about our mission, you know that 7 minutes of tarot, basically let's cover the process of re-entry, descent, and landing process. So we looked at, this is the rockets, Long March 5 rocket Y4. And this year in May, we successfully launched Long March 5B. So we talk about like for Long March 5 Y4 and Long March 5B. So Long March 5B is 1.5 stages. Long March 5 Y4 2.5 stages. So we talk about Tianwen Mars space actually this time carrying a orbiter, a lander, and a rover into the Mars. And we also talk about it's not only China sent the Mars probe to the Mars. Actually, within this window period, other countries also send their probes to Mars. So we talk about that 26 months. How we come up with that number? So I want to talk about we would like to conduct our journey in a fuel costing manner. So from Earth to Mars, so we talk about with a fixed revolution period for both Earth and Mars, it's better to launch the probe of about 2 months ahead of its opposition, as the Earth moves much faster than Mars. So in other words, it would be unwise to launch the Mars probe during Mars opposition because based on the revolution speed of Mars and Earth, as well as the speed of a spacecraft, there will never be an overlap of the spacecraft and Mars. So we talk about the launch window chosen actually is based on the most fuel-efficient route. So that is why before we said that the optical launch window this year, this time is from mid-July to mid-August this year, following the most fuel-efficient orbit. And during this time, the Earth and the Mars move in a relevantly short distance, but not the closest distance. So we talk about, if you can see it clearly, we have a Mars orbit. So from the Earth, fly to Mars, we meet each other at this elliptical Earth-Mars transfer orbit, but that's need longer time. If we give enough fuel, they will meet each other at here. So we choose the middle point to let the spacecraft captured by the right planet. So think about this. We launch the spacecraft to catch up Mars, and that's we have we called a fixed revolution period, which actually is every 26 months, given the shortest distance between Mars and Earth. We talk about Mars opposition, actually the day when the Sun, the Earth, and Mars are aligned, with the Earth sitting in the middle, but actually that happened later. So this year, the next Mars opposition is on October 14. So we not really target the day of Mars opposition. Actually, we launch the spacecraft ahead of the Mars opposition. That is also the most fuel-efficient route. So with a fixed revolution period for both Earth and Mars, it's better to launch the probe of about 2 months ahead of its opposition as the Earth moves much faster than Mars. In other words, it would be unwise to launch the Mars probe during Mars opposition because based on the revolution speed of Mars and Earth as well as the speed of a spacecraft, there will never be an overlap of a spacecraft and Mars. So we talk about the next Mars opposition is on October 14. So it's better 2 months ahead of October 14 to launch the spacecraft. So let's the spacecraft to catch up Mars, so the Mars can capture by the gravity of so the Mars can capture the spacecraft. So once again, after flying for 7 months, the probe will eventually be captured by the gravity of Mars and move into the right planet's orbit. So we talk about actually you can see we can see a very clear picture, and this actually is a very close shot of our launching mission. Of course, that phone will be really eventually died, or the phone already died. We don't know, but thanks for that self-dedication for that phone, we captured this really close shot of the launch. So that's actually the phone actually put inside the water tank because we actually prepared a large pool of water to cool down the rocket. So this time actually we sent the spacecraft, the Mars spacecraft carried by Long March 5 to the Earth-Mars transfer orbit. So if we look back to the whole launching process, so at 12:41 p.m. Beijing time, this is the blast off time. And we also will have that turning to the orbit because the rocket need to adjust a direction to entering to the orbit, and then you will see the separation of the propellants, the first stage, second stage, as well as fairing from the rocket. So for the very first time, the first time, we will also see for a second stage of the rocket actually will be ignited again. That's basically is for the final adjust the position to enter the Earth-Mars transfer orbit. After adjusting the position, the propellant or engine on the second stage of the rocket will shut down. So we look at the whole process. The whole launching process actually involved several key milestones. The most exciting moment, launching time, or which footage will be the most excited one. We talk about this one, the vertical lift off or adjustment of the position. We're entering into the cloud. So we talk about as the launch sequence started at the noon, 10 engines at the bottom of the Long March 5 carrier rocket's first core stage and the 4 boosters roared to life, generating a combined thrust of more than 1,000 metric tons to lift the big vehicle and its payload into a bright blue sky dotted with white clouds from the coastal launch complex in Wenchang. So right now you are looking at, this is the live footage. Right now they are, I believe, sharing a big piece of cake. So this is also marking a successful cake. That's a big celebration moment. And the next mission, actually, we will send the Chang'e 5 probe that expected to launch on November 24th or 25th. So that will be our next mission. So spoiler alert, the next mission will be Chang'e 5 probe launching mission that will happen at the second half of November, expected on November 24th or 25th. So look at all the people involved here actually working without no stop for past 11 hours at the same position. And now it's a big celebration time and also a big time for them to take a break. So first of all, congratulations. And this is also need to give the credit to the whole team. We believe everyone actually worked really hard, and also we talk about today, the big day actually draw a lot of attention from the whole society. I also would like to say a big thank you to people across the country. We believe everyone's expectation actually gave us that energy and confidence to make our job improved and also to complete the mission successfully. So I'm from the Long March 5 family, engineer family, the vice chief engineer of Long March 5, Mr. Chu, the vice general director of Long March 5 carrier rockets. And of course, Long March 5 right now is the cutting edge one, not only in China. We believe that our perseverance and also our hard work we make a Long March 5 to launch the most highlighted, advanced satellites, probes, spacecraft to the deep space. And we believe all our hard work also make our steps toward the completion of the 2 centenary goals. Right now you look at everyone actually very excited, and actually we are encouraged by today's success. We believe everyone actually will once again consolidate our confidence, because right now we are at really the front line. So actually, this is the, if you can tell, that's the shape of a Long March 5. So this is actually the lift-off of Long March 5. So this is today's Long March 5 Y4, and very soon we will see Long March 5 Y5, Y6. Yes, indeed. Actually, we have a big list to accomplish this year. And right now we are doing a testing mission, and by the end of the September, we will have another launch mission. Please looking forward for our good news. Thank you so much. Let's celebrate this moment together. A big congratulations to the whole team. So this is the celebration time. You can see the whole team right now. They're sharing this big cake, and you can tell this actually the shape of a Long March 5 Y4. So Long March 5 rockets this year already finished the launch of Long March 5B, and very soon this year in September we will also see another launch mission tasked by Long March 5 family. So for all the people you are watching here, they have been working on the same position for the past 12 hours. And also this evening, they will get back to their post to continue to put a close eye on our Mars spacecraft. Right, today we just witnessed a successful launch of China's first independent Mars mission from the Wenchang Space Launch Center in Hainan Province, marking the start of the nation's planetary exploration program. So we talk about the cake as the A shape of a Long March 5 rocket. So we talk about after the launch of Long March 5 carrier rocket. So the key mission for the Long March 5 actually is the process of devoting itself. So we talk about at each milestone will be separated certain part from the rocket. We talk about that you will see more and more parts leaving the rocket. That's actually give the additional booster, the boosting power to the Mars spacecraft. So we talk about during the whole process, we will see the boosters, the first core stage, the second stage, the fairing will all separated from the rocket. And we talk about because all these falling parts will arrive or land in the targeted area, basically it's in the sea area. We talk about the second core stage of the rocket. Actually, the mission is to send the Mars spacecraft to the Earth's Mars transfer orbit, which means that's 11.2 kilometers per second. That is a second universal speed. So basically, if we reach this speed, then the Mars spacecraft can get rid of the gravity of the Earth and can entering to the transfer orbit. So we talk about the Tropic 5, so famous. And what's the next mission of Long March 5 carrier rocket? And first of all, we talk about Long March 5 family actually carried a highlighted projects at national level. So this is the very first time for China to conduct orbiting, landing, roving, all in one mission. So by the end of this year, Long March 5 Y5 will send Chang'e 5 to the moon. That is also the very first time that our country will conduct unmanned sample collecting mission and send that samples back to Earth. So Long March 5B next year will send the core module of our space mission to the deep space. So we talk about the Long March 5 actually will help to send the different modules of China's space station to the deep space. Then let's put our focus to Tianwen 1. So we talk about the Tianwen 1. Actually, that's the name from Tianwen's poem. So that also shows people's curiosity about the universe. We talk about here, actually, this is really just right Earth. We look at a barren and arid planet. Right now, we're looking at this is the virtual environment of the right planet. So we talk about actually the whole environment on the right planet so in common as the whole environment in Earth. So we talk about whether Mars can be the alternative places for human race settlement. That is also why people actually would like to unveil the mask of the Mars. So the Tianwen-1 Mars spacecraft launched today from the Wenchang Space Launch Center in Hainan Province. And we once again talk about the whole launch window. So that's launch window actually is every 26 months. And for the launch period actually lasts only 1 month. Once we miss it, we need to wait another 26 months. So United States and UAE also sent their probes to Mars. So this is a Tianwen-1 Mars probe. If everything so successfully according to the schedule, then that will enter into the Earth-Mars transfer orbit. So that will be captured. The probe will eventually be captured by the gravity of Mars and move into the right planet's orbit. So we talk about next year, in 2021, the probe and Mars will meet each other. And we talk about the Tianwen-1 actually with the mission of orbiting, landing, and exploring. So we have the orbiter, a lander. So the orbiter basically to complete the mission of orbiting, and a lander basically is to complete the mission of landing and roving. So we talk about the most important milestone and also the most difficult part actually is the landing part. We talk about a bumping surface and also always have that a land storm happened. So that impose a lot of difficulties and uncertainties. So we talk about actually the signal can be delayed 23 minutes between Earth and Mars. So we look at the lander, actually that involved a landing platform, and also we have a ramp. So the ramp will be extended for the rover. So this is the rover. So rover basically will do the exploration to go to the different terrains. We'll check different shapes. So basically that involved the different terrains such as sand dunes, the gravels, and that also help us to do the emission to detect the planet's surface composition, the material type distribution, geological structure, and the Martian meteorological environment. So we talk about the successful rate of landing, just less than 50%. So we talk about the time. This time, orbiting, landing, roving in one mission speaks itself in terms of difficulties. If we complete the mission successfully, that will be the very first time that make China is the successful one, the land and the Mars after US and Russia, and also put China as the second one just next to the United States to successfully roving the whole Mars. So also the Mars mission would put China among space leaders that also bring China to deep space exploration. So please stay tuned with CGTN New Media. We'll bring you more behind-the-scene secret of the moon, the Mars exploration. So we have a new guest with us, Mr. Pang. He's the chief scientist promoting experts regarding the space exploration technologies. So we are right now sitting in a very special surface, and also look at our background that's in color right. So that is the color of the planet. We call it red planet. So why the color in red? Basically, that's a lot of composition with iron trioxide. So we talk about where is the ideal landing point. We talk about where is the most ideal places. So the name, give me a name. The landing place, because right now we would like to have a name for the landing position, the landing point. So basically, we're targeting the landing place at around 3 to 33 degrees north in terms of that northern latitude. So right now we don't have the name of the landing position. We talk about the United States. They have, right now this year they signed their Mars 2020. That's also called the Perseverance rover. And also before they have the Mars Science Laboratory was called Curiosity. It's better like our kids because they have really rich creativity. So we have looked at several times the launching footages. So this is the footage of the lift-off of the Long March 5Y4 along with Mars probe Tianwen 1. We talk about Long March 5 actually is the most advancing carrier rocket in China. The payload to GTO is 14 metric tons and payload to LEO is 25 metric tons. So GTO means geostationary transfer orbit and LEO means low Earth orbit. So the lift-off weight of Long March 5Y4 is around 870 metric tons. So the Long March 5 actually right now equipped with the biggest and most powerful boosting power. So we talk about this year marks the year of Mars. So we will also have more missions need to be completed in the future. So by the end of June, how many Mars spacecraft have been sent to Mars? Take a guess. 46, 44, 42. If the people know more about the whole unmanned Mars probe, you will know the number. You will know the successful rate. So the correct answer is 44 probes have been sent to Mars. So we talk about that's the probe sent to Mars. That's the destination of Mars. And we also not include the satellites that's passing by the Mars because like the European Union also sent the spacecraft to observe the comets, but actually surpassing the Mars. So we talk about among that 44 probes, what is the successful rate? You talk about 100% completion, 100% success, or you talk about partial success. So that's depend on different calculation. Let's say 100% success. So take a guess. Among that 44 Mars spacecraft, what is the successful rate? We talk about the calculation of 100% success of landing. We talk about 100% success means that this time we launched a orbiter plus a lander and a rover, right? So we talk about 100% success means that it's reached its designed lifetime. That we talk about for the European mission one time. Their orbiter actually worked in a very smooth manner, but the lander actually total lost the communication with the Earth. Later on, it's detected by the U.S. Mars probe. So why the lander sent by the European Union lost the contact with the Earth? Because we talk about that the wings, we talk about that the solar panel actually was failed to unfold it. So we also talk about another time that the orbiter actually is very successful, but the lander actually didn't make a successful mission. So it didn't land on the surface of the Mars successfully. So let's say what is the most attractive point of the Tianwen-1 Mars spacecraft? Or we talk about why Mars is so attractive to you. We talk about based on different evidence, it shows that once that water resources existed, so we would like to see whether we can find the evidence of life exists. So this is the same as the mission that for the U.S. probes. So for U.S. probes, their key mission is to detect life. We believe that we would like to know whether Earth will be developed to the Mars, or Mars actually will later on develop to the Earth. So they're saying that the Venus actually is the previous life of the Earth, and Mars is the future of the Earth. And we talk about the density of the Mars atmosphere is relatively low, just 1% of the Earth's standard atmosphere. If we say the Mars actually is the future of the Earth, then we need to do everything to prevent the density, the low density of the atmosphere. And we think about if the Mars is our future place for human resettlement, then we need to think about that maybe in the future we will migrate to the Mars. So people saying that we have the possibility, no matter it's high or low, that within 100 years or 800 to 1,000 years, human being will migrate to Mars. So basically, right now, what we are doing here is we lay the foundation for our next generations in 1,000-year time for them to live a happier life, no matter in the Earth or Mars. So for us, if you just look at today, our expectation is that we would like to strengthen our capability in building the space station. So let's say that this time we need 7 months for the whole journey to arrive on the surface. or that 7 months actually just captured by the gravity of Mars. In the future, we can see if we improved our capability, whether we just need like a couple days to arrive on the surface of the Mars.
好，各位央视新闻的网友，欢迎回来。大家一定很好奇哈，刚才给我们信号的时候，我们眉飞色舞的说啥呢哈？我们在说这个火星探测，接下来我们要说的有多难：发射难、通信难、控制难、能源难、环境难、入轨难、着陆难、工作环境难。刚才这个声音消失，充分说明这个通信难是存在的。但我们这做了假火星通信也存在难度哈。
对，这个火星探测，很多探测器在飞行过程中就失联了，或者是快进入轨道时候就失联了，甚至像苏联的火星3号，刚一落到火星表面就发回了20秒的信号就断了，这个通信难主要是火星太远，所有的这些难都跟火星太远，最近距离5500万公里，最远4亿公里，比地球到月球呢可能要远这个100倍上千倍，对，所以呢这个 信号的强度啊与距离的平方是成反比。咱们生活常识中也知道是吧？越远你声音越听不清楚。所以要求这个在探测器方面，在深空网方面都有更高的要求。一般我们像这个我们的环绕器上都有高增益大剖面天线。我们的深空网
We talk about deep space exploration. Actually, it's very important that we need to pay attention because, like, for the
口径越来越大，这样你就能够探得越远，它这个信噪比就越强一些。好，这个非常重要。
我在这里也看一看，还有多少网友在认真听哈。刚才庞先生说到一个比例，就是这个信号的强度跟什么成反比？这个可以出个题吗？是不是有点简单是吧？
对，
简单，
难不倒我们这些，
难不倒网友。行，我们一会儿再找找哈，有没有更难的题？那除了这个通信难，如果要再挑一个2位哈，觉得最难的分别是什么？我们
这个大家网友都知道哪个最难，
哪个最难都知道。
对，
那么多难呢，最难的呀，
最难的大家都知道，地球人都知道。
好，网友们来，那个庞先生说了，地球人都知道最难的是什么？来，
看看哪个网友先答上来。
网友现在都在回答我的问题，距离的平方。是吧？是上一个问题。
对，
这个答案非常准确。距离的平方，对吧？其实我想问的是这个平方哈。好，大家来说一说地球人都知道的最难。
Mars and Earth is inversely proportional to the communication. So we talk about back to the question of the most difficult part actually is the landing part. We talk about once again that we describe that the landing part is that you need to make a perfect shot. So you hit the golf ball from Paris and that should hit perfectly into the hole in Tokyo. So we talk about that 7 minutes of terror that need to lower the speed from 20,000 kilometers per hour to 0 in 7 minutes during the re-entry, redescent, and landing process. So that is we called 7 minutes of terror. So that's all happened during the landing process. So we talk about long march, actually, if we talk about the most difficult part for carrier rockets, then we need to light the second core stage of Long March 5 to give that propellant, to give that boosting power to the Mars spacecraft to reach the second speed of the universe. So this is the first time for China to conduct this extraterrestrial object landing.